go. Welcome back to the Scooshy Sport Podcast and my NRL Season Previews for 2026 have begun. Yes, it is December 8th, 2025, but that is not stopping me. I'm getting ahead of the game early. Starting with my season previews, I'm going to do 2 each week for you, so 2 every Tuesday for you. So today we're going to be previewing the Manly Seagulls for 2026. My next one I'll have releasing also today in a separate podcast will be the Canberra Raiders of 2026. I'm literally just doing this randomly, guys. I'm not doing it in a certain way. But how I am going to do it, I said 2 a week until the NRL season starts, previewing each team's season coming up for 2026, the ins, the outs, the predicted lineup 1 to 17. Having a quick look at how they went in 2025 and giving you also sort of how their draw is looking for that year for 2026. And also part of that is my ladder prediction as well, which came out last week for you guys. Pretty controversial so far. I got I had Dragons coming in a wooden spoon, and oh my lord, the response has been, yeah, wow. It has been absolutely crazy on that one there. But nevertheless, let's get stuck into it. Manly Sea Eagles, my first team for the season preview in 2026. So, if you watched my ladder prediction last week, I had the Manly Sea Eagles coming in 16th. I get it. It's a lot lower than what people are thinking, but I just sort of don't see where a lot of success comes from this team, I guess, in 2026 compared to how they went in 2025. They didn't play finals footy in 2025. And now I look at sort of the ins and the outs that the Seagulls have had and the coaching stuff, and I just don't see where I see a massive improvement. Anything I see a decline, really. So last year, Manly finished 10th on the ladder, won 12 and lost 12. Points for, they were 555. Points against are 534 for a points difference of, plus 21. Current coach is Anthony Seibold. He has a contract until the end of 2027. And a new addition to their assistant coaching staff is Michael Ennis. So Michael Ennis, one of the better hookers that we're seeing out of the game, played mainly for the Bulldogs and the Sharkies, but how he goes in a coaching role after he's sort of been like a commentator and an analyzer for rugby league in Fox League for, nearly 10 years now, I think, since he won that grand final in 2016 with the Sharks. Do I like some? I just don't know how these two are going to go. And like for me, do I rate Mick Ennis? Like how's he going to go as a coach? I get it, he's just an assistant coach, but now he's going to get fully involved with the team. And I really just don't see how it's going to really go super well for Manly. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but him and Anthony Seibold, I just don't see where they align with each other and kind of create this really solid team that's going to have a lot of success for 2026. So, looking at the 2026 ins and outs. So the ins that they've got is Zach Docker-Clay, which is a pretty handy in if they ever need someone. He's not in my 17, but someone handy to have as a utility if you have some injuries. The big one is Jamal Fogarty coming across from the Canberra Raiders. Obviously, Daly Cherry Evans will not be at Manly next year. The captain, someone who's been at the club since 2011. And that is a huge loss, I think, for Manly. I get it. People are going to say, he's not the Queensland 7 anymore. He's not the Australian halfback anymore. He was nowhere near the form that he had last year or this year compared to what he has been. And I get that. I 100% get that. But I think he's had so many distractions this year in 2025 with everything that's going on. The rumours of him leaving Manly started, not just the rumours, but the whole thing just started happening way early on in the season where he got onto a footy show and literally said that he was not going to be at Manly next year. He had problems with the coaching staff, had problems within the club. And I just think maybe he's the first domino that's going to start to fall. Maybe it's just a domino effect. Why is DCE, a club legend, having issues within the club? I just don't quite get it. Contract extensions, that sort of thing, just didn't quite work out. But Jamal Fogarty, coming over from Raiders, who was a minor premier last year, has one of the better kicking games in the league, don't get me wrong. But how is he going to change this team enough where he has such a positive impact where they play finals footy, and that sort of thing. Another one for them, which I quite like, is Kobe Hetherington. Doesn't quite make my starting 13 at the moment. I get it. He went down to Manly to get a starting job in the NRL. He's still going to be a very, very valuable bench player. Obviously, a premiership player with the Broncos this year. Has been a very solid part from the Broncos bench for a few years now. Now he's looking to make his mark down in New South Wales there. So very interesting to see how Kobe does in there. Blake Wilson as well, which, again, doesn't make the 17, but a very sort of handy backup if that was an injury was to sort of happen. Plenty of experience there in games there for the Doggies, and a very sort of talented player as well, the Sunny Coast boy there. The losses is where it sort of adds up. There is a lot of names on this list. I'm not going to go through all of them because all of them, like most of these, like not most of these, but some of these guys probably don't even make a top 20 to 25 in the team. But the other one that we'll talk about, Josh Aloiai. Big loss in the middle there, I think. I get it. Bench player, he's retired now. I just think it's a big sort of impact player loss off that bench there. Jake Arthur, again, not a massive loss in the halves. He's off to Super League. Gordon Chancum Tong is a very interesting one. He's off to the Doggies in 2026. And someone who I thought as a hooker had a lot of potential. Potentially at number 9 there. Obviously, Lockie Croker has now retired now as well. So, like, he's not going to be... he might have been in the 17 if he was to stay. Jake Simpkin obviously starting at the 9 jersey now for Manly. You've got, what have you got? Obviously, you've got Jazz Tavanga. He's off to the Super League. Guy I thought was quite handy out of that hooker in that sort of utility role. Can get in that sort of in the middle there as well when it's quite handy. Kind of like a sort of a cheese player, very sort of similar. And of course, how could I not forget, but Daly Cherry Evans as well. A guy who's been there, won a premiership with them, their last premiership back in 2011. The captain of the team. For me, like the heart and soul of Manly, who has been such a leader for them in the last sort of 14, 15 years. Not there anymore in 2026. And it's just, where does this team go in the direction? Like, this attack has been so based around Tom Trbojevic and Daly Cherry Evans for these last few years now. Now Tom Trbojevic has lost his key guy at 7. Has to build another chemistry with Jamal Fogarty. I just don't quite see how it really goes. So that is why, a big reason why I do have Manly quite down low. All right, having a look at their starting 17. So at fullback there, I've obviously gone, like, your back 5 is pretty sort of similar to the starting back 5 from this year. I think you do have to have Lehigh Hopewade at the fullback role there. He's just way too good for me not to have in this team for me. I think the days of Tom Trbojevic at fullback are done. I just think it's too much workload for him. And as soon as he goes down with injury, which happened to be quite often, you're moving Lehigh to fullback anyway. And honestly, the drop-off was... I think it was minimal. If anything, it sometimes made Manly play better because you had a healthy fullback there ready to go. He's got a lot of pace. Lehigh Hopewade, one of the most talented players on the field there. I've gone for Ruben Garrick on the wing there. So he's played a bit of centre. We know he can play fullback as well. Got him back on the wing there, which he belongs there, I think. He's a terrific winger. Absolute terrific winger. Really good sort of base player as well. Gets good meterage out of his own half. Scored plenty of tries as well. Just an all-round talented player is Ruben Garrick. Goal kicker as well. Captain in the centres, got the captain, Tom Trbojevic. Bit of a no-brainer. If he's not going to be fullback, he has to be somewhere in this team. There were talks, end of 2024, that he was going to be playing 5'8" for Manly in 2025 season, even 2026. That just can't be happening. This guy, I just don't think Tom has a kicking game to quite get there. So you've got to put him at centre. He has such an impact. As soon as he gets the ball, you get 2 men chasing up on him, and he just sort of passes it off to Ruben Garrick from there. Tolutau Koula, Coca-Cola, one of the more talented centres in our game. I absolutely love this guy. He is so blistering on attack. An incredible amount of speed on Koula. Again, going to be such a vital piece of this Manly attack for Manly in 2026. I think he'll have quite a big year. As I said, he's so talented that it's almost like his talent can't not make him have success in a way. Him next to Jason Saab just seems like an absolute cheat code. Two of the probably the fastest center winger duo in the league going into next year. So it'll be very interesting to see. Manly will be a team, I don't think they'll be shy of points, but I do definitely worry about how the defense will be for next year. Heading into the halves, and Luke Brooks has been a 5'8" now for a couple years. Debuted for Manly in Vegas in 2024. He is in his third year now at Manly, and so look, he's had more success, I think, at Manly and been playing better than I thought he has at Tigers, right? Probably been fitting his pay grade like right now. Still has his good moments here and there, and still has his quiet games here and there, right? I just think he's a player now that just kind of fits his pay grade around that sort of that, mid-millions kind of mark there, a little bit over. Was never a player that was worth that $1 million or played to that sort of that sort of wage title there. But again, there's better 5'8s in the comp. There's worse 5'8s in the comp. He kind of just sits right in the middle there. Is he someone that can completely change the game for me? No. Is he, someone that, if like Jamal Fogarty goes down, you can trust him to lead the way? Potentially. It's a potentially. So if Jamal Fogarty was to go down with an injury, I think there's going to be big issues for Manly. If, he has to try and lead this attack. We've seen it before with him at the Tigers, and it just doesn't quite work. So, not hating on Luke Brooks as a guy or a player. Like, he's been through all the shit that he's had. He's copped so much shit. I just think he's kind of where he's at right now, and he's sort of fitting like where he is in that sort of that pay grade. So, Jamal Fogarty is sitting next to him. Obviously, his debut year with Manly, coming from a terrific year with the Canberra Raiders, getting a minor premiership. Obviously, didn't quite make it a lot of the way in the finals and straight sets, but he was such a vital part of this Raiders attack last year, especially in the kicking game. One of the best long kicking games and short kicking games in the comp going right now. The way he gets these torpedo bombs going so high in the air and lands them like anywhere from 1 meter to 5 meters out from the opponent's line is crazy. If he can like replicate this kicking game from Raiders to Manly, yes, it can definitely help. I think they're going to have to kick a lot of crossfield ball to Jason Saab, get him to use that aerial ability, get a lot of wide ball going to him, use that speed along the sideline along with Ruben Garrick. All right, heading into your forward pack, you've got Siasia Takiaho and you've got the return of Taniela Paseka. Two pretty good forwards, right? Like on paper, you expect them definitely to perform. Takiaho, been there, done that. The Roosters, Taniela Paseka coming off, what was it, either Achilles or ACL very early on this year in 2025. Very interesting to see how he does bounce back from that long-term injury. The first one I think he's had in his career. Usually with a forward, you don't see them bounce back like massively well, as good as their ability was. Maybe he'll be a bit quiet early on. Usually has about 45, 50 minutes there in the middle. Maybe he's just going to have 40, maybe 35 early on just to get used to the fitness again of rugby league game and get used to sort of obviously overcoming that injury. Again, not the worst forward pack in the world, not the best, but two very high profile players who we know what their ability is like when they do have a good day. Heading into your edge rowers, and obviously we've got one of the Trebojevic brothers. We've got Burbo on the left edge there for Manly. A guy who has his moments and has his bad moments as well, right? Someone who I think is never going to play Origin or play rep footy, but someone who's going to consistently be in an NRL side and starting in an NRL side. I think he fits this Manly mantra pretty perfectly. He can play centre. He's pretty versatile. We know what Burbo's like. You get what you get with Burbo. As I said, he has these really good moments where he can break a line, run a really good line. Then he just has these games where you just like, what is going on here? Like, maybe we need someone else to start on the left. Maybe he needs to come off the bench. Can't forget about your right edge, big Hamole Olakau'atu, New South Wales rep, absolute beast of a player. One of the best, most talented edge back rowers we have going in our comp. An absolute machine, right? As soon as he gets 10 meters out with that line, with the ball 10 meters out, he is so bloody hard to stop. It is absolutely crazy how good this guy is. Don't expect this guy to drop in form whatsoever. What I really do want to see from Olakau'atu, if he does get the opportunity to play rep footy again for New South Wales, I really want to see him take that next step and actually really own that jersey. We've just seen him, I guess, when he gets selected, he has all these really good club games, right? And then he gets to Origin level, and you think he's going to have this huge impact, and it just seems to go a bit quiet and just seems to get a bit contained. Just haven't quite seen that breakout game from Homale Olakawatu yet. Very excited to see if he does do it, though, but I have no doubt at club level he'll continue that form that he had for the last few years now. At your lock position, Jake Trbojevic, which, look, everyone's going to say, Jake, he works so bloody hard. He's got so much heart in the game. He just puts in so much effort. He bleeds that manly colour. And I get it, right? And I get he works so hard. But, like, what main NRL player that hasn't played rep footy doesn't? Represented the state in New South Wales Origin last year, 2024, and then doesn't get selected this year in Origin. It's a pretty big downfall, and I think people kind of know why that sort of happened. And it's just the fact that you just don't see that same sort of spark that you get from Jake. I get it. He's going to make all your tackles. He's going to take your runs here and there, but he's just a typical get the ball, go forward kind of player. He's not going to create heaps of opportunities for you. I think there could be a good chance where maybe we see Jake come off the bench as maybe more of an impact player and get Kobe starting at 13 there. Get some speed going there at 13. I just think they're lacking a little bit more of speed there at that 13 sort of role, which sort of halts them a little bit on their attack. I think Jake, he's a lovely guy. As I said, he puts so much heart in, but I just think that his heart is what he puts in is no different to a lot of other players in the game there. And I think it may be time for a change at that lock role. I'm not sure about Jake Trbojevic. One of those things, I just think he may be a little bit past that sort of prime age that he was at. And maybe his fitness levels aren't quite as there. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see. Heading over to, excuse me, I forgot the number 9. Obviously, we had Lockie Croker retire at just a few weeks ago due to medical reasons. All the best to Lockie Croker in his retirement. Hope his health gets better. That means that pushes Jake Simpkin into the number 9 jersey. He will be starting for Manly in this one here. Good opportunity for Jake to show his true colours in this one. Starting at number 9, he's had his career at the Tigers, sort of wasted away a little bit, but now he finally gets his opportunity there in the number 9 jersey, and that might mean it's a chance for a guy like Joey Walsh to step up into that 14 role, or a guy like Zach Docker-Clay to step into that 14 role there. Plenty of sort of couple players that have got that opportunity now to go into that 14 role and see what they're sort of made of. Your rest of your bench, pretty sort of similar to how it looked last year, apart from Kobe. You've got Nathan Brown, backfence Browning. Just one of the best bench players going around, in my opinion. Such an impact player. When he comes on after that 20-minute mark, he's an absolute ball of energy. He's ready to run from the back fence off kickoffs. He's absolutely ready to just run it straight and just run it so bloody hard at other defenses. Perfect player to come on after 20 minutes. Absolutely no worries with Nathan Brown coming on off the bench after 20 minutes. 16, I've got Kobe Hetherington there. Really handy lock player. Give Jake Trbojevic a bit of a rest. I think we'll see Jake play a few less minutes this year. Get Kobe more minutes in the middle there. Kobe, he used to be number 9 back in juniors. He's fit as a fiddle. Now he's got a bit of size about him. He can tackle. He can pass. He can run really hard. I really am a big fan of Kobe. I think Kobe is a better lock than Jake Trbojevic at the moment. And I think we may start to see that in the year 2026. Finishing off, we have got Ethan Bullymore on the 17 jersey. Again, really solid bench player, right? He came on this year and feel like he scored so many tries off the bench, right? Whether it's a fluke, that sort of thing. Ethan Bullymore, really sort of solid bench player for Manly there, coming off the bench there in number 17. In regards to the rest of your squad, you obviously got Simone Laifi, a really talented player. Joey Walsh, you got Paul Bryan there. You got Anatoni Large, who is an absolute weapon. A guy like Clayton Faulalo, if one of the backs was to get injured, maybe he can sort of step up ahead of a Blake Wilson or a Navrin Willett, maybe even a Caleb Navale, that sort of thing. Obviously, you got Zach Docker-Clay, who may be in that 14 jersey. But the squad depth isn't too bad, honestly, for the Manly Seagulls there. Maybe lacking like one or two forwards there. Going to be interesting, as I said, how Paseka does stand up next year off that long-term injury. But it's just as a whole, right? But the main thing, let's not beat around the bush here. The main thing is with Manly, if Tommy Turbo stays healthy for Manly next year and can somehow churn out 20 games for Manly next year at 24, maybe Manly is a finals potential team. He has to stay healthy though. It's just such an important, vital thing, and he is now the captain of Manly this year. A guy who's probably played half the games he should have played in the last 6 years. Now he's the captain of the team, and I just don't really know how it's going to go. I'm not a big Anthony Seibold fan. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but as a coach, he had that one good year. What was it at South? He got Rookie Coach of the Year, and he got sacked by the Broncos. And I just think he just hasn't really done much at Manly there to really sort of, I think, reward him with that contract to end of 2027. I think potentially he could be on the hot seat for next year. Anthony Seibold. Going to be interesting to see what happens with Mick Ennis there. But as I said, how Anthony Seibold controls this whole team is such a huge thing. How he plans this attack now with Jamal Fogarty, with his main man DCE gone out of this attack. A guy who's been in and around the club for 14, 15 years now. I really do worry about this Manly team next year. I get it. It's such a talented team on paper, right? You've got the back five is one of the best back fives in the comp. Your Lehigh, your Garricks, your Turbos, your Coles, your Saabs. One of the best back five going in the comp. Your forward pack, if Paseka can stay healthy, if Takiaho can definitely step up and take another step up, if Jake Simpkin can provide really quality ball out of the number 9, if Hamola can have a really strong year, maybe this team makes finals. But I just think as soon as there's a couple injuries within this team, it could be good night Red Rover all over for the Manly Seagulls in 2026. I've gone out of a limb. That's why I do have them coming in at 16th there for next year. A bit of a limb. Draw-wise, they do have a pretty relatively not bad draw to start the season. They start the season with three home games in a row to start the season, and then they have a bye. So not the worst sort of draw to open with. So they open the season to the Raiders, then the Knights, then they have a bye, then they have home to the Roosters. But they've got a pretty good schedule. Don't have to travel too much. No 5-day turnarounds. They only have to play the Sharks and the Storm twice. They get to play 18 out of 24 games in Sydney. So, as I said, not too much travel. They host the Broncos next year. They get to play the teams like Titans, Knights, Cowboys, Eels, Dragons, Dolphins twice. So, pretty sort of relatively good draw for Manly. But it's just whether... I just think there's a lot of other better teams than Manly next year. And as I said, there's a few injuries within this Manly team next year. I think there could be some serious issues for Manly. As I said, I think Anthony Seibold could be on the hot seat for Manly next year. But that will do it for my Manly Seagulls season preview. It's going to be about sort of 20-25 minutes for each team for 2026, going through how they went this in 2025, going through their 1 to 17 ins and outs that they've got for the next year, having a quick little look at their draw as well. So next one I will be doing is the Canberra Raiders. So I will be sort of getting 2 to 3 of these out a week, most likely out on a Tuesday for you at the same time. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Remember to follow all my socials at Scooshy Sports. Remember to give it a massive like on YouTube and a subscribe as well. This is just the beginning of NRL 2026 content. We're in for a huge 2026. I cannot wait to bring you more NRL stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers.